All right, yeah, this is Admin for Kidmin, the ad ministry. Everybody in the right place? You guys sure you're in the right place? Admin for Kid Ministry. I am James Pelletier. I don't know hardly any of you. So I am from Oklahoma City. I attend Apostolic Faith Tabernacle, Pastor Nathan McDonald's pastor. I got the Holy Ghost in 1996. I am first generation Pentecost. Came in from I was a high school kid and got hungry for God, and there was a crazy Pentecostal girl in one of my art classes, and she got me to go to church with her. So I went to church with her, and here I am. Got it in February of 96. I got the Holy Ghost, and by that summer I was working in Sunday school and kids church, and I hadn't got out of kids church yet. I hadn't graduated, so I love dumb dad jokes. I don't think I can keep up with Brother Bradshaw. Man, he's quick, but and I'm kind of soft spoken, so this mic is nice and loud, and I think everybody can hear. So. Really good. Administration for Kids Ministry. It's probably one of our least favorite things to talk about. It's definitely not the most exciting. We're not going to put it on our flyer. Hey, come check out my bus maintenance log. Hey, come see my attendance record. You know, it's not like it ain't glamorous in any kind of way. It's definitely it's for people like me that are nerdy. I like numbers. I like figuring out all the averages and all that stuff. So I like it, but we're not going to put it on our flyers. So I do want to look at the word administration, and I am from Oklahoma, so my English ain't that good. But if you look at the word, it ends in shun. Shun it. Shun, admin. But at the beginning, it's got add. So administration should add to us, we shouldn't shun it. And right in the middle is ministry. It's our administration. So ministry is a service, right? So it should add to our service. That's what we want admin to do. Add to our service. So I'm pretty sure that if somebody pulled up outside in a Lamborghini, $600,000 car, rev their engine, going good. We're going to go out there, we're going to take a look. We're not going to ask them, hey, what's your tire pressure? Right. What kind of oil is in this? What's your RPMs running at? Well, no, I'm going to be drooling over it. I'm going to be like, hey, did you steal it? Can I go for a ride? I'm not going to be asking about the oil pressure, the gas, none of that stuff. It's a machine, right? It's a dream machine. And I'll tell you, though, without the right tire pressure, without the right oil in that thing, it's going to burn up quick. Can y'all picture a Lamborghini with 4 flat tires? It doesn't work up here. It's not going to happen. So this session is about putting the air in the tires, the oil in the engine, and getting everything running right. So again, it may not be the most glamorous thing, but it's what's going to make our Sunday school, our children's departments, it can help us add to our ministry. And that's what it's about. So it does start with us as leaders, and it's not everybody's strong suit. And so if you need help, ask for help. Brother Bradshaw has an incredible system set up, so ask him for help. He's got a Lamborghini I was drooling over last night. I'm telling you. But yeah, we can definitely do better, get better. We got to go through these things and put things in place start wherever you're at. And as we talk about record keeping, administration, tasks, those kinds of things, it's really easy to think just about the numbers or the goals or the stuff and forget what all those numbers represent. And we can never do that. And it can be easy to get bogged down or just stuck in it, but it's not. Every number is a soul. I mean, it's somebody. If you're talking about your attendance number, it's a soul. If you're talking about your bus, it's hungry souls. It's people that want to be there. So, and then, I've got a disclaimer right here before I get too far. When it comes to pretty much anything I say, your pastor teaches something different. Your pastor's right. And if I tell you should keep attendance records and your pastor says, no, we don't want to keep attendance, then we don't keep attendance. It's that easy. David got in big trouble one time for taking attendance.
Yes, he did.
You don't think about that too much, because I think attendance is important. But David got some big trouble. And I'm definitely not saying that the way we track things or the way we do things and the things that we have is like the best or the only way to do it. Again, last night Brother Bradshaw's it's cool stuff, and he just did it himself, so it's pretty cool stuff. So there's a lot of ways to do things, and hopefully we can just kind of give you some ideas, give you some things to think about, to look at. Brother Baglin, y'all know Brother Baglin? Yeah. He's like a legend in Apostolic Sunday School. And one thing he said, and it ties right in with this, if your pastor teaches something different, he's right. But it's Sunday school is just a program. Sunday school is only a program. It's kind of a humble thought, I guess, but it's important to remember that, because not everything, we can all do Sunday school different. It's a program. It's okay. Our doctrine's not different. Our the way we live, the Bible, it's what it is. But when it comes to Sunday school, it's a program. And so there's a lot of room for flexibility, for diversity, for change, for adjusting as you go. We've adjusted a lot as we go. 1 Corinthians 12, it says, now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. There's differences of administrations, but the same Lord. There are diversities of operations, but it's the same God that worketh all in all. So as we approach administration and children's ministry, Sunday school is just a program. It's just a program. So we've got to make it the best that we can. It's we got to have the goals. We got to have the vision and the labor. We got to do the labor, but it's just a program. So how we do it, we can change, we can adjust, and I do think that I'll start with attendance, because I think it's a fairly universal thing that probably most of us track or want to track or think about tracking. Attendance is probably the biggest metric and measurement used in the administration of Sunday school. So tracking attendance, there's kind of two parts to it, right? There's the number that's there, who's here. Well, there's the total number, and then there's the who are they? Who are they? And so tracking the overall number of people at our church, Apostolic Faith Tabernacle, the Sunday school leader, we've always been the one to do that for Sunday service. It's just the way it's the way we've set it up. And so we track our Sunday service. Now, again, we've changed through the years. We used to have 10 a.m., 6 p.m., and so we would track the 10 a.m. service as Sunday school. And then now we have a one service in the afternoon, and so we continue to track that. I took over Sunday school, so I got involved in Sunday school in 1996, started in kids' church, eventually I went to doing some teaching and stuff. My wife worked on the routes from 96 on. And then in 2011, I took over Sunday school. And so I had all these records from attendance over the years. And actually, the attendance I have is from 1998 all the way through. And man, if I can ever get on and find where the records are from 1997 back to 1960, I'll add them to my spreadsheet because that's what I did. I took all those numbers. We used to have just a piece of paper, front and back, 26 lines on the front, 26 lines on the back. That's 52 weeks. And we'd write down the number of people. And then there'd be a column for your weekly average. And then there'd be the column for your monthly average. And then the year-to-date average. And it was all on pieces of paper. And so I had all those from 98 until when I took over in 2011. And we used that paper for years. And then, internet came along. I don't know. The internet was along, I think, in 98, but I put them on a spreadsheet on Excel, kind of just digitized it, made it easier to see. I can email pastor and stuff like that. So, and it was pretty simple, pretty basic, as long as you like doing the calculations. And then when you put it in Excel, it can do the calculations for you. And so that's a good process. It works. In 2015, I made, and this is in the book, part of it is, a printout of it is, I made this spreadsheet, and it's got some charts on it and graphs, because I wanted to see kind of what's our historical by class, what's our historical weekly average, monthly average, and then I'd tweak that as we went too, because then I got really interested in, absentees, who's missing, how many average do we not have coming? And they're, we don't want people to fall through the cracks. We got to know. So, and then I added guests too. And that spreadsheet, it's just in the book, it's the one with all the graphs and stuff on it. There's actually there's a tab for every year at the bottom of the spreadsheet. It's fun. If you like that stuff, it's fun. And so that kind of is how we track, and there's line graphs and stuff. It's how we track just the overall numbers. And something else Brother Baglin says, it's somewhere in my notes down here, but he says, the church that knows its past has a future.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And that's why, it's just a line on a piece of paper, but it's an important line because it is souls. And you can really see, and I think on the spreadsheet, that's actually how I have it labeled, is souls. Souls. How many did we go up? Did we go down? What's going on? And there's now there's a 25-year history in there. And it's just great to see the movement. And there's years it's up and there's years it's down. But overall, it's up. I mean, we just hit some pretty awesome milestones the last few years. So pretty incredible. I love doing it. Now, as far as tracking who is there in the names of who the kids are, we've used software for years. We use Servant Keeper. Do you guys use any software? Planning Center. We just switched to Planning Center. Y'all use Planning Center? You love it? I love it. We just started using it in February. And so I still use my spreadsheet a little bit for keeping my averages and stuff, but Planning Center is powerful. It's good stuff, and you can track, obviously who's in each service, but you can set up workflows in that software to, if somebody's missing, somebody reaches out to them. And so we used to have a PDF that we would save every service, and then leadership would get the PDF and we'd reach out to the folks that are missing and let them know, hey, we love you. We don't want to lose you. Get a hold of them. And since Planning Center, it's automatic. You don't have to think about going to get that PDF. It comes to me automatically, and then we can assign, you follow up with this one and I'll follow up with that one, and nobody falls through the cracks. So Planning Center is a really powerful software, and it does a whole lot more than just attendance. It can do pretty much anything. You can sign up for events, and there's people, there's groups. We have the app where all our Sunday school teachers are in a group, so I can send a message and we can talk back and forth in there. It's just cool stuff. So I do kind of miss my spreadsheet, so I'll still use it. But and really, when it comes to spreadsheets and some of this administration stuff, a lot of times the best spreadsheet is the one that you make because you put what you want on there. Right. I mean, I've mentioned I was drooling over it last night. It's not just because I was tired. I was drooling over that thing because it's cool. Like, he puts in the name, takes the picture, just pastes it into a cell, and then he clicks a button and bam, he's got a name tag with the lanyard that he puts in the lanyard, and it's there with their age, their birthday, the class. It's color coded. Like, it's an amazing little thing, all from a little spreadsheet that he has. Like, so it's cool stuff. But if you don't know all that stuff, you can learn it. Yeah, yeah, you can learn it. You can reach out. I think my contact's in here somewhere. My email, jpelletier@apostolicofokc.com. You can definitely send me an email. I try to keep my inbox pretty clear because I'm a nerd, which is why I'm talking about administration. So how you track attendance isn't as important as tracking it, right? So whatever that spreadsheet looks like, whatever that piece of paper looks like, whatever that software looks like, just try to do it. When you keep records, it really does start to challenge everybody around you to start inviting others. When they start seeing those numbers and figure, wow, we really had whatever, man, that's awesome. And then, oh, look, if we were at 198, well, surely we can get to 200 this week. How cool would that be? And then, bam, you're more encouraged to go do a little bit more, to go reach another one. So it shows when things are working, and it shows when things aren't working. And the number doesn't always represent if something's working or not, right? Because sometimes you're just sowing the seed. Sometimes you're just watering the seed, and there's not going to be a number attached to it, but it helps. So. And it's about impossible to follow up to an absentee if you don't know that they're absent. So tracking it is important. It definitely encourages faithfulness as well. So again, Brother Baglin said, a church that knows its past has a future. So beyond attendance, oh man, having an effective kids ministry, you've got to have people. And so when it comes to people, administration, people processes, how many of y'all were trained before you went to Sunday school, taught Sunday school? JT. How many of y'all were thrown into the lion's den?
On the job training.
Yeah, so people processes are important. We can't do Sunday school, we can't do kids' church, we can't do bus ministry, we can't do it alone. It's dangerous to do it alone for sure, but it's like you can't be effective alone. So it's not a one-man show. And if Jesus called disciples to help him, how much more are we going to need to call people to help us? For sure. So, and who he called, they were people. They were real people, just as horrible as we are, and just as rough as the people that we're having help us. So they didn't fit a specific mold. They weren't the most qualified to turn the world upside down. I know I don't feel qualified to turn Oklahoma City upside down, but I'm going to try. I'm going to do what I can do. And so we didn't always have a process or people administration at Apostolic Faith Tabernacle. We do now. We do now. Everybody that comes to work in Sunday school or children's ministry in Apostolic Faith Tabernacle, we're going to go through a process. There's going to be a conversation with me. There's going to be a conversation with Pastor. There's going to be training involved. Anybody that expresses interest right now in AFT, whether I'm going to find them and saying, hey, you want to teach? Hey, you want to work? I got a van sitting in the parking lot that needs somebody to go fill it up. Or they're coming to me. Either way, we're going to go through a vetting process. We live in a crazy world. And so typically there'll be those at least 2 conversations, myself, Pastor, and an application that they fill out. I actually give them a booklet, and the booklet is in here, in the folder. And so it's there's 4 pages per page on here so that we could get it in here. But we know and we understand everybody that comes to work with kids, we're gonna be safe. And so there's gonna be a background check. There's gonna be some digging in. So, and there's gonna be prayer every step of the way. I don't want to minimize that, but we're not really talking about that part of it, but that's part of it. So after we do our interviews and the application, the background check, which again Planning Center takes care of for us now, it's pretty neat. But if somebody's got a crime on their background check that involves kids, well, you're not going to be working in kids ministry with us. So, all right. Yeah. Some people feel that tug to get into kids ministry, and others we drag in, right? We pull them in. Yeah. So, yeah. How it happened for me, okay? I was a teenager when I got the Holy Ghost, and I was sitting at a friend's house, one of my new church friends, and she had her teacher's manual there, her Sunday school teacher's manual, and I picked it up and I just started going through it and just being dumb, just being myself. And she said, I think you ought to get into Sunday school. And I had just got the Holy Ghost a couple months, before. And I was like, I don't know about that. I'm kind of shy. She's like, you was just doing pretty good right there. And so I was like, okay. So I went and I talked to my pastor. Then it was Pastor R.T. McDonald. And I talked to him, and he said, you know what, Brother Pelletier, let me pray about that. And the next week he come and he put his arm around my shoulder. And he said, Brother Pelletier, I think I'd like you to go ahead and work in Sunday school, but I need you to work with Brother Wainwright, and you're going to be kind of behind the scenes. You can do the puppets and stuff in kids' church. How's that? And I said, okay, that sounds good. He said, well, I need you behind the scenes, because before I can put you in front of everybody, I need you to fix this. And then he went ahead and told me about something I needed to fix. So I fixed it that week. That next week I was in kids' church, and like I said, I've just been there ever since. So we got to find people that are teachable. But the interesting part is that while I was trained for puppets, for kids' church, for songs, for clown, I did clowning. Dr. Giddy was my clown. for clowns, for balloon animals, for all that stuff in kids' church. I had never in my life experienced a Sunday school class at all. I was raised kind of Catholic. Occasionally, we were Catholic. After, when you needed to go to church, I was kind of raised Catholic occasionally. So I did go to some CCD classes as a kid, and all I remember is it was boring, man. It was bad. And then one day, our Sunday school superintendent came to me after kids' church, and he's like, "Hey, do you mind substituting in the kindergarten class today?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? Why not?" So I went in there, and then I saw in there was my pastor's granddaughter. And I thought, I was scared now, because she's going to go home and tell her poppy how horrible her Sunday school class was. And then that's it. I'm done. I'm going to be sitting down. And she didn't, apparently. But I was scared, man. I was like, oh, no, I'm going to be in trouble. So training is important. Now, I made it through, and we had a little puppet in there. It was fun. We kind of did it just like we do kids' church. But equipping teachers is really important. And like 2 of us had training in here. So I'm a hands-on person. I like to, toss me in. It'll be okay. I might do horrible at first, but I'll figure it out. And if you've got a curriculum, that's really great. We've always used a curriculum at AFT, but we got to tweak it and make things work for us. But it's great, but you got to teach people how to use that curriculum if you've got a curriculum. And I learned it from my personal experience, but then when I took over Sunday school department in 2011, I actually did the exact same thing. And it worked out okay with me, but it didn't work out okay with this couple. And they're an awesome couple. They're great. They wanted to come work in Sunday school, and and it wasn't even kindergartners. Kindergartners are kind of forgiving. 4th graders aren't so forgiving. So you just throw them in there with a bunch of 4th graders. I'm like, duh, I should have known. I should have known better, but I didn't. So I had to go clean that mess up. Not their fault. I messed it up. So I promise you right now, that was my fault. And we have a process in place. Now what I try to do is we try to put them, I say try, I mean we've been doing it now for a little bit, where we partner up new folks at least for a quarter before putting them on their own. And so they still get hands-on training, but they don't have that pressure of being the only 2 in the classroom to have to figure out what to do. And then we also have bi-monthly, now this is just our schedule, bi-monthly training that we do on like a Thursday night that's not choir practice or whatever, where everybody can come that's a volunteer, and it's to everybody that's in Sunday school on the staff, whether you're on a route or whether you're in a class. And we're structured a little different too, where our class teachers, we actually rotate teachers every basically quarter. So we do it a little different right now, but it's quarterly basically is how our teachers teach. So you're on a quarter, you're off, you're on, you're off. And that keeps it kind of fresh for them. But then all of our teachers then can be invited to those bi-monthly things so that when they're on their off quarter, they're still connected and getting that refresh training. And we go through our handbook, we go through different topics, discipline, object lessons, stories, different songs or illustrations and those kinds of things. We take that time on that Thursday night to do that. So a quarter in a classroom and bi-monthly training, we do both of those. And before we put them, oh, I already said that. Okay, good. Good. And our handbook. We made this handbook. It's been a long time since we made the handbook, and then every couple years we try to update it. Like when we first made this book, Facebook wasn't really nothing. Social media wasn't nothing. But now, social media is a thing. And if we don't have guidelines for how our teachers interact, our Sunday school volunteers interact with kids inside, outside, we had to add in some social media things, you know? And there's a lot of things in there that really go without saying, but you got to say it. One of the things in there is about appropriate touch and how you know you're not allowed to slap a child. Goes without saying, right? You think it goes without saying. So, in that handbook, we've got some safety guidelines. Where do we go if there's a tornado? Where do we go if there's a fire? Where do we go if there's an earthquake? Y'all have earthquakes here?
Once every 6 years.
Really? We get quite a few in Oklahoma, actually. Here, last 10 years or so, there's been a bunch. So we have guidelines for it now. Where do we go? Yeah, we had to add in the social media just from the explosion of those apps and how our world changes. We've got to adapt with it. So if you notice in this one, it looks like 2022 was the last update that we did. And it's 2024, so I'll be doing an update here very, very, very soon on this book. Okay. So it's also important, we really feel very strongly about accountability with all of our volunteers. And so we have just a short weekly check-in. And it's just the very, very, very basic stuff that we do. The basic, I don't really want to call them expectations, but like, I guess that's kind of what it is. Just those very basic things that we want to touch point. Like, if you're not praying,
Yes.
you're not going to be effective in Sunday school. So that's one of the things that's on our deal. And it's not about, did you pray 31 minutes at least every day, Monday through Sunday, or you know, we have a Monday through Sunday on there, and they check which days they prayed. But I really wanted to, we have that. I don't know that it's in here, but we have those forms, and we use them, and it's never, in the years that I've done it, it's never been as a punishment type of thing. You know, it's an accountability. It's a hey, I'm doing right or I'm struggling. And it's really all about honesty. And that's what we've always really striven for, was to, you know, just be real, because we know how life is. And there's not been anybody that's ever gotten called to the office or whatever because of their answers on there. But it's a great checkpoint, because then I can see, okay, this one is struggling. How do I prevent the problem? It's just like following up to an absentee who's not there. If you know that they're not there, you can go help them. And if I know that they're struggling with something, I can go help them. And I think it's been a very effective tool that we use. And it's a simple thing. It's a simple thing. And, you know, if somebody needs a break to go fix something, that's what they get. And that's actually one of the benefits to doing our volunteers the way that we do, is quarter on, quarter off. Or like this year we're doing 6 months on, 6 months off. But that way you've got time away if you should need it. So. Bus and van processes. So we run a bunch of vans is what we run. That's how we do our bus ministry. We used to have a huge bus, and we loved it. That's when my wife was in the route ministry. That's what she used. They had a big old bus, and it was great. But there's a lot of extra legal stuff with bigger buses. So we went a few years back and just did the 15-passenger vans, no special licenses. It's a lot easier to do some things. So we've got 5 total, but we have 3 that run routes, one that goes to a drug facility, so a rehab facility. So it's an adult ministry. But vehicles, if you're using church vehicles, right, it's a advertisement. It's a billboard for your church. And if you're running that Lamborghini out there with 4 flat tires, it's not going to give a good impression for your church or for Jesus, right? So we have also, we do a pre and post check on our routes every week. The vehicle checklist is in there, and that has helped us a lot. The idea is when we go out on outreach, we do our pre-check and make sure everything's good on the van. Handle's broken, oil light's on. We check it all, and then we can make adjustments. So, when you turn it in that, oh yeah, when you turn in that van after Sunday school, how's it look? We got a checklist for that. Because I've gotten those text messages with a picture of the candy stuck to the glass. All right? That's no fun. So it's a rolling billboard. We do our pre and post check every week. And then our routes, we also have the permission slips for the kids to come. So gathering information on our kids, is that a struggle for anybody else? Man, it's been a struggle for us. Most of the kids, they don't always know their address, especially the little ones. They're not going to know their address. They're not going to know their phone number. So we have gotten the permission slip, and we've used the jot form, and we stole it from somebody in our group chat. I don't remember who it was, but we just copied and pasted the jot form, and we used the real. Oh, Brother Bradshaw. Brother Bradshaw, you just share. So we use that jot form. Now, I use a free version. I think you've got to pay if you want like the official signature from the parent.
You do.
You got to pay. But I just used the free version, and I made a box.
Yeah.
I made a text box with the same exact disclaimer saying you're signing permission, and then it's legal, and then they type in their name, and we're so far. I used the free version. So far, so good. But it really has helped because we've gotten their pictures are on there, allergies. We know we've got the mom's, dad's, grandma's contact number. So we are able to capture all that and then put it into Planning Center, and we're good. Now, Planning Center has forms. I haven't moved my permission slip for routes over into Planning Center yet, but I'm going to give it a shot soon. So I really think the key to all of this is just starting wherever you're at and keeping it simple. And then as you learn and as you grow and, hey, I want to know about this, then you can build it and get fancier and get the little charts and the name tags to auto print and all that. So, but yeah, so those are the things that we do have. You know what? The last thing I did want to mention was on our routes. So we got the pre and the post check. We've got the permission slips, but I don't know how everybody runs routes. We probably all do it a little different. One thing we noticed in Oklahoma City a few years back, and it's been a few years, was that sex offenders happen to all, they have the sex offender registry. Well, what we noticed was a lot of them clump up in the neighborhoods. And a lot of those neighborhoods are the neighborhoods where we're going to pick up kids. And so I check our maps for our 3 routes every 6 months and make for certain you can't go on that street. You got to avoid this clump of houses right here because we're going to keep our kids safe. And there's been times when people they'll use your kind heart to help win them to God to get a hold of our kids. We've heard it a couple times already today, right? The devil wants our kids. So, yeah, I check our maps for those addresses, and we're going to avoid those addresses. We're going to make sure that those folks can't come on our buses and use our buses as an outlet for that. And, you know, they can be saved, they can be redeemed, but they're not going to do it for my kids' ministry. It's just the way we're going to do it. So I think we've got just 2 minutes. What did I miss? Brother Bradshaw, what are you doing? What are you doing? What do you got?
As far as the administrative side of things?
Yeah.
So just saying, know your people that you work with. And I showed you what we had just implemented for us, for keeping track of our children, who's there, who's not, point-wise, and all that stuff, as far as that goes.
Point, yes.
Yes, but our bus ministry is, we have 13 vans, and we have 3 school buses. We're busing in anywhere between 180 and 200 and however many kids every single Sunday, and feeding them breakfast. And so we're trying to implement some of the stuff that you've already implemented.
That's awesome.
And that's what we're working towards right now. So.
Wow. How many vans?
13.
13 and 3 buses. You can't do it alone, can you? No. Wow, that's awesome. All right. I hope you're talking about bus at all while we're here?
Talking about what?
You talking about bus ministry while we're here?
Yes, well, we're talking about, tomorrow we're talking about how we do children's church, bus ministry children's church.
Man, I'll be there. I'll have to pre-record myself.
Just have YouTube going on your lecture.
Yes. All right, I think that's it. Any other questions?
No, sir.
All right. You got one.
Yeah, just real quick, I guess, let's say you're starting out from just 0, and what would you say would be the top 3 things, maybe in order, that you got to get established if you're starting from 0 admin? 0 admin, top 3 things, it would be attendance as far as who's here and absences, who's not. And then if you're including routes in there, there would definitely be the organization as far as the pre and post checks and permission slips. What you think?
I would say knowing who's there when they're there is
That's by far the number one. If you've got nothing, that's where I would be starting right there. Who is here and who's not?
If you have an emergency, I need to know who's on campus, who's not on campus, because I need to know whose parents I need to contact.
That's a huge part. Like if there's a fire, if there's anything that happens in church, and we're in a crazy world, man. Church shootings happen.
Yep.
We got to be able to contact mom and dad when they're not there. Awesome. All right.